What's up, guys? Iceman here. Welcome to Meditations. So, today we's talking about a popular topic, alright? I know a lot of you guys are into this shit. And it's kind of hard to blame you. That's right. We're talking about prawn. So, when I was a little duck-billed platypus, I remember the magazines that would come in the mail. Like the chicks from JCPenney and all that shit. Then the Victoria's Secret stuff. You know, I'd sit there and look at them in my room and all that. I was like, wow. And then the internet started to emerge. And prawn was becoming more and more prominent. And it was kind of understood, deceptively so, that there was nothing wrong with watching it. And that's still kind of how the powers and principalities of the world that be portray it. For good reason, I'm sure. But that reason is to our detriment, nonetheless. So, when I was like a teenager or whatever, I had a couple girlfriends and all that. But I remember I'd watch it occasionally. Didn't really think there was anything wrong with it. I mean, on one hand, I thought it could maybe give you ideas, you know what I mean? But I guess I knew that it was a fine line. Because even back then, addiction, you know what I mean, was prevalent in other things. So I knew that this could be an addiction. It potentially could be anyway. And you'd have guys joke about it. Like, oh yeah, I'm addicted to prawn. And we kind of laugh about it. But fortunately, I've always had girlfriends. Always attractive ones. Except for one or two. But I was looking for something else then, I guess. Comfort, I don't know. But I was dumb. That was before I started paving my way, all right? But most of them were attractive chicks. And I never really had too much of a problem with it. I mean, there were probably periods of time where I would watch it relatively frequently, you know what I mean? But it wasn't ever too much of a problem. But then I started to kind of realize the psychological effect it can have on a person. Like you sit there, you watch it, and if you please yourself, for example, you're just like, bleh. You just kind of crash out, you know what I mean? And you're like, damn, I need a cigarette, or I just want to go play video games now or something. So it kills ambition. Is one of the major things wrong with it, but that's not all. So I remember when I was like 25 or something, I was starting to pave my way, right? Starting to become a hustler. Starting to live life the way I wanted to live it. The way Ice Boy wanted to live it, all right? I had my own little apartment. This is all, I didn't really have many goals. I just wanted to make sufficient money to live comfortably and to have my own place, I didn't really care what kind of a place it was, as long as it was my own place and I didn't have to share it with anyone. And I didn't want to have a job. All right, so my goals, it was pretty simple. You know, I don't need a lot to be satisfied or happy. I need good-looking women, and I had one. And I found her around that time. She's my wife now. But like I said, I mean, I always dated good-looking women. But there was that little point in time where I was starting to pave my way. I had my own place. I didn't have to work a job. I was a hustler. And I still never entirely kicked it. You know, like the prawn thing. Like, I'd still have it. I'd still go on the computer sometimes. But I started to realize, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, huh. I was like, so I have all this energy if I, like, don't watch it, you know what I mean? And it compels me to go out and get shit done. And there was a short time when I was single, or however you want to call it, where I left, because I moved across the damn state, all right, and I came back. So I came back here, and I got my little apartment, and I didn't have any women, right? So it was just me, no women. And I was like, huh. I could either sit here and watch prawn and just kind of dwell and then maybe try to go get the women, or I could refuse to watch any prawn whatsoever and go out and get the women. You know what I mean? And it just fueled such a drive. Like, I was up at night, you know, my eyes were like saucers, like, holy shit. It's like, I need to go and do, I need to go and achieve, you know what I mean? So, I don't know how else to put it. But I did not rest until, you know, I was able to, until I was able to go and find a woman, all right? And sure enough, I did. Couple of them. Because I wasn't wasting the time sitting at home, just letting all the energy just spoil and just basking like a slob. All right? So I was fueled with desire. Because I was like, it's meaningless. What are you doing? What are we doing watching this shit on a screen and satisfying ourselves deceptively and then just checking out, you know? Like, you're getting the prize, but you didn't have to work for it. So you're totally like skipping these essential steps in nature that have to do with growth in your character and persona and your social skills and all that shit. You can just skip all that and just get the happy ending and then just crash out, you know what I mean? And of course that was always kind of the case, but now it's just so like visual. Like, you know, men are visual in terms of their attraction, and now it's just at our fingertips. So at least back in the day, you had to like look at a piece of art or something and, you know, satisfy yourself. And it wasn't nearly as immersive as what it is today, where you can just hone it down to whatever visual you want, and then you're spent, you know what I mean? But I don't want to make this damn video too long. I mean, I don't think I have to spell it out to you guys, right? A lot of you guys who watch my videos are probably on the in anyway. Like, you know what I'm saying. You know where I'm going with this. But for those who aren't, it kills your ambition and your desire, and it makes you a lazy slob. I mean, what else can you say about it? But there's a few other important things, and there's one that's really important, I think. So guys also have problems with getting it stiff. You know what I'm saying? When they watch too much prawn, it screws them up sexually, because then you can hone in what turns you on. And you can even save the shit, so you can go right back to that little scene, the little angle, everything. And then it starts, you start training your brain to that's how you get aroused. To where if you're in a real situation with a real woman, even if she's hot, you're just not quite reaching those euphoric states, because you've optimized it when you're watching the screen and with those things that you've saved. You know what I mean? So a lot of guys have problems with that. So they have it when they finish too soon problems. And they have, they can't get the damn thing stiff problems. You know what I mean? And then if you're in a relationship, or if you're with a woman, or if you're married, you're just going to please yourself when she's gone. And then she's going to come home and you're going to be like spent. You know what I mean? You're going to be like crashed out. So you're not going to have that inclination to want to socially adhere to her, to where you can perhaps gain access to, to enjoying yourself with her, because that's just off the table now. So she goes and comes or whatever. Or maybe you go and come and she just stays home, but you're still going in your damn room watching the prawn. And then the less and less you're going to try to go to her to get yourself pleased. You know what I mean? Because you've already fixed that. In a way, you know what I mean? So it dissolves the relationship. Because if you're not watching the prawn, you're going to go up to your lady and you're going to be like, God damn, I got to get these rocks off. You know what I mean? Excuse my language, I don't know how else to say it. You're going to be like, God damn, I'm itchy, And it's not going to be an answer or an option to go and just watch the screen, because you're going to be denying yourself that. So in which case, you're going to have to go up and be like, oh, hey, honey, you're going to have to be, you're going to have to woo her, or socialize with her, or have that, have a relationship. You know what I mean? So it destroys your fucking relationship. What else has to be said about it? It's such a new phenomenon. The ability to look at a screen and get to that end game as a guy without working for it. And again, the problem with that is you didn't have to work for it or do anything to get there. So you're just training your brain, and you start losing on all, because there's a lot of nuances at play when you're trying to get a woman to do that with you. You know what I mean? There's a lot of nuances at play to try to get her to work with you. And there's a lot of social integrations, social skills, charisma, the working on your body, the working on your body language, just all that shit. And if you're not watching the prawn, you're almost forced to go out there and learn and do and experiment, because you want that, of course, because that's what your nature revolves around, is that demand to produce your seed or whatever, and to preserve it then. You know what I mean? So if you're just watching the prawn and you're just like flat on the ground then, and she's like here or there, and you're not even trying to build up to get those to optimize those little nuances that perhaps will get you access to the good times, So you're robbing yourself of all that, and you're destroying all those things about you. And if you don't want that to happen, you got to close the damn computer. You know what I mean? You got to get rid of it at all costs, because that's the only way. Like I said, it wasn't hard for me. I was just like, if I don't watch this shit, I'm not going to be able to sleep until I go and you know what I mean? Until I find consenting partners or something, you know what I mean? So what did that do? Well, it fueled me to figure out, how do you get somebody to consent? You know what I mean? How do you get a woman to want to be with you is what I mean. How do you get a woman to, how do you please a woman? You know, you're forced to learn that shit, and by experimentation perhaps. But yeah, it's destructive, man. All right, it's destructive. If you're a single guy, it's destructive because it's going to kill all your ambition. If you're not single, it's destructive because it's going to destroy your fucking relationship. You know what I mean? And one thing that just is maybe a different angle, like I've seen this as well with guys with Christian guys, you know, they're like, oh, I'm not going to be sexually immoral with a woman. I'm not going to try to get a blowjob or whatever until I'm married. You know, like they have that in their mind, but at the same time, they're going to be watching porn. You know, you're totally defeating the purpose. So not only are you sinning at an equal level anyway, you're sinning, you know what I mean? If that's what your concern is. It wasn't mine, but I'm just saying there's some guys out there who that's their concern. You're sinning anyway, but I'm going to sin this way by watching the porn instead of indulging with a woman pre-marriage. So I'm going to sin and destroy my character and destroy my growth. Instead of, say, just sinning by doing shit with a woman or whatever and not destroying your character and growth. You know, just having a damn good time, to be honest with you. So no matter which way you spin it, I mean, even if you're a Christian guy or whatever, the same rules apply. I mean, good for you if you can just not do either then. You know, if you really want to walk that tightrope, then you could not watch the porn and you could not do anything before marriage and this and that. You know, you can do that. But I'm just saying, I mean, if I were in that boat, I'd rather just, if I were going to be sinning anyway, watching the porn who many times a week, I'd rather do it without destroying everything else as well. You know what I mean? I'd rather do it than just have a damn good time. I mean, these ain't the old days where we get married, you know, basically, you know, young. You know what I mean? You could strive for that. I'm sure there's communities that'll that kind of rush to marriage or whatever, but that's that for now. And if you guys will like this video, subscribe to the page, become a patron if you want to support the meditations. Links in the description below, and blessings to my patrons. May the Creator bless your finances sevenfold, and may you have many wives. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace be with you.